I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're exploring a powerful book. It is called The Daughter of the Golan Heights. It is written by a terrific author. Her name is Madiha Katao, and she has written a book that is both powerful and deeply personal, a memoir that bridges history, faith, and perseverance. This moving story chronicles a young girl's journey from the fertile fields of Masora through exile, survival, and rediscovery. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Madiha, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you. Pleasure mine.
Pleasure's
Thank you.
mine as well. This is such a powerful story. Why did you decide to share your story with the world?
I never imagined myself to become author or write my memoir. I always, we grew up in a humble society where we always look to ourselves like we're insignificant. But moving to the US 40 years ago and telling my story a little bit with my friend, colleague at work, people I meet, in place of worship, whether we went to church for outreach or synagogue or, Islamic centers, always people will be like listening to me like, oh, moment. It's like, what a story. Why you don't write a book? I said, me writing a book? I will laugh and walk away. Till finally, 3 years ago, I get retired and work at work. I'm a math teacher. My English was not that perfect. My colleague, the English teachers, always told me, I will be your partner. I will be your partner. Just talk to the, audio, record yourself and send it to me. We will do it together. I never took it seriously. But later on, I looked at myself and, I said, why not? I love reading. I always read. I spend most of my break time at school in the library of the school. Always pulled books, especially related with a teenager. Many times I would put a book down. It's like, oh, this is awful. There's no story, but like a little emotion, it put you hot, then it just disappear. I found like we need to tell that my grandchildren, especially I have 8 of them, I need to tell them who I am because they never have the chance to see the Golan. They never have the chance to tell stories because my immediate relatives are way, 1,000 miles away from me. It's not like their aunties or their grand aunties or grandpa around to tell them. I said, I have to tell them. The new generation, especially in the West, they're a reader. They read. Good, bad, they read. Books are very important. That's why our shelves full of books. So as you see, I love reading. So I decided, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I started writing. My children, grown up men now, they encouraged me. They said, just mom, don't worry about the grammar because you always going to have editor who's going to help you to put it in a better way. Thanks to Atticus, which is they did wonderful job editing my work. So that's wonderful. How this past 3 years I've been writing. And this past few months, here you go, my book coming on the shelf soon.
Well, that's exciting. That's wonderful. And let me ask you this. When you look at your life on paper, what do you see as the pivotal moments, the most important moments or the turning points in your life?
Yes, even though my shortest span in my life was in Golan Heights, but deeply rooted in the way I was brought up, the way I was taught to be a lady, the way I was taught to be important figure from young age, how my family, I grew up in 10 siblings, I have 9 siblings. I grew up in this large family, which is agriculturally farmers. We have cows in the yard, we have chicken in the yard, and we have out, the cowboy come take them daytime, but evening we have the moment of this short 12 years of my age. It's deeply shaped me who I am because the way my parents handled us, the way my parents gave us assignments at young age. Like I wrote in the story, like even just sit down and watch the door to raise because the chicken will come and eat. Just that task alone. If I tell maybe my grandchildren now, they just come when I make my dough, they just come and play. They don't know how to carry themselves, because they did not grow up in that kind of assisting the whole family member, assisting each other. That
Yeah.
shaped my life, and that's deeply made me who I am today.
Absolutely. Let's go back to 1967. Talk to us about that moment when you realized your family had to flee your home.
Unbelievable.
Mm.
I mean, that moment, you cannot forget again that moment, because that moment changed everything in
Yeah.
our life. But honest to God, it made us better. It made us not to hate people. No
Mm.
matter what they do to you, you have to learn how to handle your crisis and come out in a stronger, braver,
Mm.
deeper in faith, because the way we were brought up also deeply rooted in our religion and faith, because everything in this universe, from the moment the sun shines till the moment the sun go down, it's in the hand of God.
Yeah.
So we lost the land, which is very, very deeply affected us. But my parents and my scholar later on taught us that this is not up to us. God will inherit the land to whom he wants.
Mm.
And if we have right, we don't lose our right by struggling,
Mm.
and we don't lose our right by God. And this faith made us, yes, I lost my toys, my dolls, my friends, my relative. We were spread it all over. Here you go now. My sister in Europe, my niece and nephews in Turkey. We're spread it. We're
Yeah.
spread it. And this is a second generation. My father, my parents, maybe the load on them was harder because their parents came from the Caucasus, were
Yeah.
also by force.
Yeah. When you see what's happening in Gaza today, do you see parallels to 1967?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The only reason my, community in Mansoura and Golan decided to leave the land, it happened because for big two reasons. Reason number one, it's not because we just ran away from the land. No. Number one, it was commanded by our own government, and by seeing the enemy's plane and tanks coming to the city, we were commanded to leave the area so the civilian will never get killed or smashed the
Mhm.
way what's happening in Gaza.
Yeah.
So that was the reason actually we have to leave the land, and guaranteed we carry the keys and we carry the deed of the land in another hand, guaranteed that once the war come down and finish, we will return to the land. This is temporary. This is
Mm.
temporary move. So now I'm looking at what's happening to Gaza. I see how many numbers of children and women has to get killed. So this war finally has to turn off. It's
Yeah.
deeply, deeply sad what's happening. I hope, every people, who they lose their right will, gain their right before they, pass and leave this land.
Yeah.
This is not nice. That's why we were taught war is not good.
Yeah.
Uh, let's make peace. Let's sit down, talk. Let's solve it by wise men and women who they can decide what the best for people of Gaza or people of Golan. Hopefully, we don't lose the same what's happening in Sudan. It seems to be worse than what's happening in Gaza.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy how much violence, how much hatred, and how much destruction is taking place in so many corners of the earth right now. Talk to us about the Circassian culture and the role it plays, the vital role it plays in your story, and how you've preserved its traditions.
Yes, I do speak my language. That was my mother tongue language. That was in Golan Heights, the Circassian, when they came from the Caucasus, they didn't choose the land because they didn't know anything about the land. Whatever the government back then, I believe the Ottoman, they gave them the mountain area in Golan Heights that was
Mhm.
part in Syria. And it was surrounded by the Bedouin and surrounded by another people called Druze. And this land, it's similar to the mountain air and the weather in the Caucasus Mountain in southwestern region of what we call Russia today.
Mm.
So from that time, like 120 years now, they built this beautiful villages, because the Circassian are not Bedouin, they're not nomad, they don't travel running in the season after the gas or after the products. No, it's the opposite. The Bedouin used to come and surround our village to buy the milk, to buy the cheese, to buy livestock, or even the farming, which is the villages of the Circassian full of grape lands and fig tree. That's what most common what I saw in my time. Even though my father said we had the watermelon, it used to be so huge, like you put only one watermelon on the donkey, so barely that donkey can bring it home, that big of size. So what I saw in my time, it was the corn, the wheat, the lentil, those kind, and fig, and of course the grapes. So that land was so beautiful. After many years passed, and I went back to work as engineering on the border of the Golan Heights for rebuilding. The United Nations Army used to talk to me because they're the one who go to the other side of the occupation land, and they will compare. They will tell me on the map the villages here, 13 of them, is so different in structure, building, the way you could see the family home, and the way you see where the cow has to be raised, separated, versus the Bedouin lifetime. So I used to tell them, this is a lifestyle. Our building used to be 2-floor, made of brick, and the brick used to be imported from Italy. Wow. It was very beautifully done. And the farming, the gardening, the flower, everything has to be the cleanliness. So that was a very, very, very important in the Circassian life. As you see, I have my cultural dress. Yes. Unfortunately, what's left today is the language. My children does not speak the language. I couldn't pass down the language by myself alone. I was more likely, important for them to learn the Arabic language than Circassian language, which is, but what's left is our language, our tradition clothes, our dance, folklore dance, the food. And this is what now all over the world bring the Circassian together. And we never forget our ancestor stories. I went actually to the Caucasus land, and I saw with my eyes, that beautiful land, how it was before, the story that, my father always told us, and how it is now.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. Sounds like a beautiful culture. Let me ask you this. You write about your mother's strength in your book. What lessons do you carry with her still today?
My mother, like I said, she buried 10 children. I'm a twin, so 9 times she was pregnant, imagine.
Yeah.
At the same time, a farmer. At the same time, she's the one who has to bake the bread for the entire family. And 10 years in Golan Heights, we did not have running water in the house. We did not have electricity. Sometimes I think, as I think I stated in the book, is the length of the day was really 24 hours or longer. For every minute, she was doing something, taking care of us as children. But at the same time, I do not remember crying or whining over fighting with my sibling. I don't remember that. I don't know how she raised us. But at the same time, she was full of talent, stitching, handmade, sewing. I am a tailor at the same times. I learned everything from my mother. She never forbid us to go near the needles, scissors, or even the sewing machine. She will encourage us to touch it and to do the crochet and the needlework. And she will never did that before, because she will make us the dolls made with the hand stitch, and she fill it with the lamb wool inside. Then she will give us this, "Hey girl, your daughter or your baby is naked. Now you have to crochet for her."
Yeah.
This is amazingly, when she grew up, when we left Golan Heights, the only thing she used to talk about is the 12 heavy handmade of wool blankets and stitched with a certain pattern, handmade. She always thought about only if we brought this out with us.
Yeah.
I will think like I saved Golan Heights, because those were pressure handmade. Especially we have a set for guests. And our guests are unexpected. Not only Circassian, all the businessmen who pass the village, they have to stop in our house first. Because our house in the north of the Mansoura was a last house. So any traveler from the north, they come, they have to stop in our house. And our door was always welcome. door opening.
Amazing.
So
Amazing. I mean, your mother sounds like a wonderful woman. This is an inspiring book, an amazing journey, an amazing story. It is called The Daughter of the Golan Heights. It is a story of faith, love, and unbreakable spirit. Madiha, thank you so much for joining us here today.
you're welcome. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate your time, your insight, and the wonderful work on this book. For the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for GBN. So long for now.